Nice to talk back with another match preview for a game that we're hoping actually goes ahead, as our last game against King Lane and the one after that has been postponed due to a few players or staff in their camp having COVID. But nevertheless, we move on. It's against Hartlepool on the 28th of December, 3 p.m. kickoff. So make sure you're there for that one, because I thought with it being a Monday that it'd have been a bit later, but obviously it's a bit of a festive fixture, isn't it? So it's the earlier kickoff of 3 p.m. Tough side Hartlepool are. We saw it last season. We've seen it this season with some big results that they've had. So it'll be a good test for Notts, I think. So I'll hand over to Tom now.
So it's going to be a really tough game against Hartlepool. If we have a look at the stats for the two sides, now Notts currently sit in fourth. We've dropped due to not playing today. 23 points, and Hartlepool have actually overtaken Notts into third place that we previously occupied with 24 points. Now, Hartlepool have played 2 games more than Notts, so I fully expect with the games in hand we've got that we could leapfrog them again, but nevertheless it's going to be a tricky game. Now, if we look at home and away form, Notts have the third best home form in the division, and we've scored 14 of our 19 league goals at home, so there's a few big ones in there. Altrincham, even got a couple in losses to Maidenhead, but most of our goals are coming at home, which is really positive, but we do need to just address that away form, which I think we will start to do. Now, Hartlepool's form is a bit off at the minute. It's very up and down for a team that are in third place. It gives a bit of a false league position in some senses. They did win their last 2. They beat Halifax yesterday, Boxing Day, and they beat Stockport 4-0, albeit against 9 men. Rooney sent off for allegedly swearing at the referee or calling him a cheat, or the linesman or someone. They played against 9 men, so 4-0. You'd expect probably your Dovers to score a couple against 9 men, no matter who you are in this league, because no team is good enough to contend with 9 men. So it's a bit of a false result. All being said, before that it's 3 wins in 7 in all competitions, so they're not actually doing unbelievably well. But very, very tough game. If you remember last season when 2 mistakes from our keeper at their place, it was an awful game. Notts were appalling, probably the worst I'd seen them all season. And that was all credit to how well Hartlepool actually played. So 3 players to watch out for. The first, Luke Armstrong, recently joined from Salford and has 4 in 4. So yeah, a dangerous player. His goals have come spaced out. So it was didn't score in the Boxing Day game, 2 in the previous one, didn't score, and 2 in the one before that. So he's scored a couple of braces. Obviously, key man to look out for. He's there, goal scoring form. The next is Ryan Johnson. Now, he's made the step up from Kidderminster, and he's made the step up really well, the defender. He's actually got 4 goals from defence, so he's their joint top scorer. Dangerous men in the box, and corners and Notts worry me a lot. They really do. We seem to address it in some games and go 3 or 4 games, and then it just comes back to bite us, and I hope that's not the case against a very tough Hartlepool side. And the final player is a player I was really sad to leave, Tom Crawford. Now, he's been bitten and bobbing, he's been a bit part player, but he is a fantastic player. He really, really is a good player, and we saw that at the end. He was the only player for me that came off the pitch with any credit against Hartlepool at their place last season when I went up to watch them, and he played about 15 minutes. So if he plays, I fully expect him to know Notts County inside out, and he's just a fantastic player that we're going to have to watch.
Team news now for Notts then. I'll quickly run over what I did in the Kings Lynn preview in case anybody missed it, and there's not been much other team news since then either. So we've got McCrory that's having to have surgery on his other knee now, so he could be out, for another 10 to 12 weeks. And then we've got Kyle Roberts. We're looking at seeing him back mid-January. He's had to have minor surgery on his stomach lining because there was the starting of what looked like a hernia. So yeah, that's it really in terms of team news. So I'll go on to team selection. We've got to set up solid. We've got to be ready for Hartlepool because they are a very attacking side. They know where the goal is, so we're going to have to really, show that we can defend even against, the more higher scoring sides. We have shown that against Stockport. We just need to consistently show that to show that we are serious contenders for the league. So in goal, Slocum, he's got a great record so far this season, I think. So do the back 4 that I'm going to choose, which for me, you can't really leave changed from the league game against Stockport. Brindley, Rawlinson, Turner, Dion Kelly-Evans. I mean, I just can't change it. I mean, Turner has really turned the corner, you know. There was a lot of doubters around him, and I think he is 1 or 2 bad games away from having a full load of doubt thrown his way on social media. But, you know, for me, he's really turned a corner. You can see how much it means to him, like that interview he did with Slater. So, yeah, you can't really change the back four, I don't think. Obviously, it'd be good to see Lacey back. He did play some time against Morpeth and he looked good. You know, it's good to have these options. But when you look at the run of games that Turner's had now, he'll be wanting that game time, and I can't really see anyone pushing in. I wouldn't be surprised if Lacey does come in, because, you know, we saw how good he linked up with Rawlinson last season, and it just shows you how versatile Rawlinson is, really, doesn't it? Because he can adapt to whatever centre-back's next to him. So he had Lacey last season, and he's having Turner this season, and you're getting similar results out of them. So Rawlinson's the shining star there, I think. But I'll move further up the pitch. So obviously stick to the formation that we stick to now that's been so successful for us this season, 4-2-3-1. Sitting in front of the back four, Reeves and Doyle, say no more. They play every minute of every league game. Can't leave them out, can you, really? They're fantastic. Reeves he's always ready on the edge of the box to take a shot. He's so creative. You know, just, yeah, say no more, really, say no more. 3 attacking players. Now, I'm going to go pretty much this. Well, I'm going for the same that I went against Kings Lynn, because I think at this moment in time, it's the strongest that we have. So I'm going to go on the right side of the attacking mids, Walker, more of a winger, I suppose. In the middle, I'm going to go for Ruben Rodriguez. And on the left-hand side, Enzio. All 3 of those players, they're so creative. If we can't create and score goals with that 3 players sitting behind, obviously Kyle Wharton, who I'm going to choose up top, there's something wrong, you know. And then we obviously have the options of bringing on, you know, Eli Sam. So if we can bring him off the bench, even Jimmy Knowles, like he always seems to nick a goal, doesn't he? So we've got plenty of options, there's plenty of depth in the squad, and we've got so much quality in the squad now, where if we do need to make a few changes here and there, we shouldn't see too much of it imposing on the squad that we have now. So yeah, my prediction then, it's not going to be an easy game. This isn't. I think it's going to be one of the tougher games we've had this season. I think it's going to look even tougher than sort of we made Stockport. Stockport didn't really look like a tough opponent because we just nullified everything that they created. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 Notts win. Very, very tight game. These are going to be really well set up. They're going to be ready for the fight. So yeah, I'm going to go for Kyle Wharton to get one. I'll hand back over to Tom for his prediction.
How do I see this going? Well, I think I don't usually think if a team plays Saturday, Tuesday, it's that much of a hindrance if they've played a few games. But this is very close. This is 48 hours. Is not a long time. Usually teams have 72 hours. This is not long, and Notts have not played either. So it all looks in Notts' favour. If I was going to say the home form is going to go in Notts, scoring 14 of our 19 at home, I am going to say that that's going to be massively beneficial to Notts. I think we're going to get a 2-0 win. I think Hartlepool are a great team, and I think if we were away, it'll be a lot tougher. And when we go away late in the season, it's going to be incredibly tough. I'm going to go 2-0. I think Rodriguez is going to get a couple. I think Meadow Lane suits him. The pitch is great. Confidence is obviously improving with him every time he plays. He's just a really good player. The rest will help us. I really hope we can get this win, because I know we've got games to hand over Torquay, but Torquay have won those games, and now Notts have to chase them down, and it's not going to be easy by any stretch. Because I was talking to George earlier, because Torquay have beaten Yeovil 6-1. If they don't carry it on, if they only carry it on till sort of the end of Jan or mid-Feb, they've got room to mess up. They by that point they could be 20 points clear, and they've got room to go on like a 4 or 5 game losing run, and they could still regain it. So it's so important we keep intact with Torquay. So I'd love to know your lineup or your score prediction, and place it in the comment section below.